So let me just tell you some of the science behind this. Just there's a lot of there's a lot of big pieces of psychological science that I've incorporated to really leverage the principles of psychology through the five-star approach. A lot of cognitive psychology in here. And one of the things that I use is something called the forgetting curve. So the forgetting curve was um, invented or first described, created by a guy named Herman Ebbinghaus, and he basically tested um, memory and how long memory lasts. And it turns out that humans tend to forget stuff. And what he created was this graph where it was like, if you time was this way, and the percent recalled was this way. And if you ask somebody right after they learned something, like that second, then retention is like 100%. If I tell you, um, the capital of some, country that you've never heard of before, if I tell you that capital, you'll be able to tell me back. However, after like 21 minutes, it drops by half, if it's not repeated, if it's not reiterated, right? And then over the course of a few days, it goes down to almost zero. And it's like after 6 days or something that it's like at like 10%. So that forgetting curve is extremely steep in the beginning, and then it kind of levels off, and it's like you retain a little bit over time. You may recall very little. In fact, humans don't remember most of what happens in most of every day. You may think you do, you don't. So, if I ask you to recall, every word of this video so far that I've spoken, and just write it all down, you probably could only remember just a small amount. You hopefully remember a couple of the ideas, right? And that's what I hope you remember is the most important ideas. However, with this forgetting curve, it presents this enormous problem. Most things in life, we only get one chance to hear, unless we've designed a way to repeat it and to review it, so that we can remember more. And what our goal is actually to use all the psychology possible to help our partner feel like they're having a great experience, because that's all they've got is their perception of whether or not they're having a great experience in our relationship. And if we can help them feel like they're having a great experience in our relationship, then that's a great experience. That's all that matters. All they have to do is perceive that they're having a great experience. So we want to use all the principles of psychology to make that happen. And how do we do that? So how do we do that through the five-star approach? It starts in open. We're saying, hey, can I make a five-star experience for you? And I want to work on our relationship. I want to do some things for our relationship because I love you and I care about you and I want to make life great for you, right? And so by doing this, we're opening up this review, review the concept, like, I love you, I want this to be great, I want your life to be great, I want our relationship to be completely awesome, right? And they're recalling this because you've told them before, and now you're reminding them, right? You're reminding of that, and also you're triggering this memory that you're about to create together. So then in the deliver step two is deliver, and you're saying, hey, is this a five-star experience for you? I want this to be amazing for you, right? I want this to be great. I love you. And I want your life to be amazing, right? And so you're reiterating, right? Again. And they're like, oh, I am having a great experience. Oh, okay. And so the boxes are getting checked. And then in the follow-up step, which happens directly afterwards, you're like, was that 5 stars? Did we do it? Did we get there? And they're like, yeah, yeah, it was great. Or they occasionally say that no, no, they're not. In that case, you get these priceless feedback. You're like, oh, well, what can I do better? You get the priceless feedback on what you can do next time, right? And it was probably turned out better than it would if you didn't try it all. Anyway, after that, you're going to check in again and again, maybe the next day, maybe a few days later, and you're going to go through again and say, "Hey, do you remember yesterday when we, picked those apples together, or yesterday when we swept the floor together, I swept, you mopped or whatever." And this morning I got to sweep and mop the floor with my wife. I was so excited for the opportunity. I just had a few minutes. I needed a break, and there it was. So like it was easy. And then I'm gonna go back and be like, "Hey, you remember when I swept and mopped? Like, was that a 5-star experience for you? Like, I just wanted to double check." And she's like, "Yeah, it was." And I go back and double check those things so that I can make sure that I'm on target, and so that I can generate, so that I can help that memory stick, and that generates gratitude. So that's the byproduct, is that my wife is like, "Oh yeah, like Tyler really does a lot of stuff for me, right? He really serves me a lot. He wants me to be happy. He spends a lot of quality time with me." And so I'm helping those ideas stick in her mind, and that's what helps build up for her that this relationship is really awesome. And then she rates me 5 stars. So, or she rates the relationship rather as 5 stars. um, so that's how we use the principles of psychology, and with knowing that the forgetting curve exists, and so we counter that by using all these opportunities to review and recall and trigger. Yes, like this, I have a great life, I have a great relationship, right? By asking like, "Oh, is this really good for you? Like, I want to make sure, and you don't have to use the 5-star approach language specifically. Those numbers are really important, but if the numbers for some reason don't work, and as long as you're asking, "Well, it sounds like it could be better. What can I do to make it better?" Until they get to language like spectacular, fantastic, totally awesome, completely amazing, until they get to that upper echelon of language, or the number 5, which is just much easier, then for most people, then that's how you know you're there. And going through this over and over again is how we counter the forgetting curve, and how we seal the deal with that 5-star relationship. So good luck in doing it. I know you can do it, and you're well on your way. And have a great night. Thanks.